In this video, I am making homemade chicken soup with wild rice in the Instant Pot. And I am using my homemade chicken bone broth. But before we get into that, if you're new to my channel, I'm Denise Jordan, and I teach women to make wise home, health, and beauty decisions. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, subscribe and tap that little bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Okay, let's jump into it. I got this Instant Pot recently as a gift, and so I am really enjoying using it. And then I learned how to make chicken bone broth in the Instant Pot from one of my friends, Mary at Mary's Nest. And if you missed that video, I will link it below so you can check it out. And I will also link Mary's video below too so you can check her out, because she is really amazing. She does traditional cooking. She calls it cooking for the modern pioneer. So I'm learning some of those techniques. So in today's video, we're going to make chicken soup with wild rice. So the primary ingredients we'll be using for this chicken soup include my bone broth, my homemade chicken bone broth, but also chicken drumsticks. And you can use chicken thighs if you like, but chicken drumsticks is what I happen to have on hand, so I'm using chicken drumsticks. I'm going to cut the meat off the bone and cube it up. You can also add in chicken breasts, but if you use chicken breasts, it's not as juicy or as flavorful as the thighs or the drumsticks. So you definitely don't want to use all chicken breasts, but you can definitely use a combination of the two. Wild rice, 2 garlic cloves, and then of course you've got your trinity of celery, onion, and carrots. And I will give you a little bit more detail about some of the other spices that we'll be using as we put this soup together, but let's get it started. So now let me just show you this chicken bone broth, and one of the things that you'll see right around the top is a little bit of a layer of fat, and I can just kind of skim that off if I like, or I can use it in. There's not a whole lot that's there because I strained it pretty good, but as you can see, there is just a little layer of fat that is there on the top of the bone broth. And isn't it a delicious color? I mean, it looks like a jar of honey, but it's not. So I'm really excited to use it today. And let me not forget to say that this chicken soup video is part of a collaboration with Tashi at Simply Tashi and Mary at Mary's Nest. The three of us are making chicken soup, and of course right now all thoughts are turning towards fall and the days are cooler and people are wanting comfort foods, cozy up foods, foods that warm you up, and there's nothing that does that better than chicken soup. So once you're done looking at my chicken soup with wild rice made in the Instant Pot, go over and take a look at Tashi's chicken soup recipe at Simply Tashi, and then be sure to go over and check out Mary's recipe for her chicken soup at Mary's Nest. Now, one of the main ingredients for this chicken and wild rice soup is wild rice, and this is not a wild rice blend, it is wild rice. And I have a little story about where this particular wild rice came from. I got this wild rice as a gift from Miss Charlotte Hawkins at the Lac du Flambeau Indian Reservation in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And Miss Hawkins had taken our group on a tour of a village that was kind of like the village that her people would have lived in way back in the day when her people were living like freely in Wisconsin. And she told us a story about how they harvested the wild rice, and then I had given her a gift for being so gracious to us. This was the 3rd year we had gone there on this particular mission trip, and I had given her a gift for being so gracious to us each time we came. So she gifted me with a bag of wild rice, and whenever I prepare it, I think of her. So I wanted to just share that story with you today. But this particular recipe, you need bona fide wild rice, not a wild rice blend, but wild rice. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Instapot, and I'm going to set it on the saute cycle. And while it's heating up for that, I'll go ahead and prep my veggies. So let me get it turned on. And you hear that little beep when it comes on, and if you look here, you see it says off. So I'll lift my lid, and then it makes like a little musical sound. And the saute cycle is right here. And let it come to saute. And let me go ahead and grab the oil and put that in so the oil can be heating up as well. And while that's coming to temperature, I'm going to prep my veggies. And one of the things that I do need for this recipe is 2 cloves of garlic. And what I do is to chop them up, and then I'll just put them in a little dish. But let me bring you in a little closer so you can see how I get the outer skin off. Lay the clove of garlic down on the mat, and then just push down on it like that, just a little bit. And that just allows you to get the outer wrappings to come off pretty easily. And now I'll just chop these up. And I just chop the garlic up, just a rough chop, not real fine, but just nice little chunks. And if some of you are saying, really, seriously, do you really need to show us how to chop up garlic? Well, there's a few of my young housekeepers out there who are just learning to cook, and I want to make sure that I am showing them what they need. You just cut it in half and cut it in half again. And then once I've got the onions chopped, it's time to go ahead and wash my celery and my carrots. And I like to go ahead and get them both washed at the same time, and then I can get to chopping them up. So once I get the carrots scraped and peeled, then I go ahead and cut them in half and cut them in half again, and then just chop them up. And the same goes for the celery. Just cut them in small little ribs and then chop them up. And here I had about 5 small orange and yellow peppers. And I like to get them washed off under the water, and then I can pick out any seeds that might be in there. And then just slice them up and then chop them up. And I found this recipe on a website called Green Healthy Cooking. I'll link it below so you can check it out. The hardest part of this whole business was peeling the skin off of those chicken legs. Now, chicken thighs, it would have been a lot easier to remove the skins, but chicken thighs were not on the menu today. I had chicken legs, so peeling those skin off of those chicken legs was what was most difficult. And then once I got the skin off, I gave them a good wash. And then, of course, I washed my hands before I touched anything else, brought them over to the cutting board, and then trimmed the meat off the bone. And then just cut it up into small chunks, bite-sized chunks. And of course, I washed my hands again. And I wanted to show you that I washed my hands several times throughout the process, because you really need to make sure you're practicing good hand washing when you're working with raw poultry. And then after I finished the hand washing, I cleaned up the sink. And you may think, well, why didn't I just clean up the sink once I was all done? But just in case I needed to get into the sink for anything else, I wanted that all cleaned up and out of the way. And notice I even cleaned off the handle of my soap dispenser as well as the faucets. And I used a paper towel to clean it up rather than a sponge or a cloth. And as you can see, I used my Clorox kitchen cleaner to do that cleanup. That's what I like to use when I've got poultry juice in my sink. So now that the pot is nice and hot, I'm going to add my onions, and I've got about a cup of, well, I've got 1 onion that I've chopped up, and then the 2 cloves of garlic, nicely chopped. And I'll give those a stir and just let them saute until they're nicely cooked. It will probably take a couple of minutes for those to saute. They should brown nicely, and you can just really smell them. I mean, it's just so aromatic. Now that the onions and garlic is nice and brown, I'm going to add my chicken. Give that a quick stir, but you can hear it starting to sear already. And then I'll add my celery, the carrots, and I've got about a cup of celery, a cup of carrots, about 3/4 cup of yellow and orange green peppers, about 4 ounces of sliced mushrooms. We also need the zest of 1 lemon, and to get that, you can just take a grater and just kind of gently grate that outer lemon peel. And then you can chop up or the lemon zest once you get it off the lemon. But it really infuses a nice flavor into the soup. So we add in that lemon zest, a tablespoon of fresh thyme, just a pinch of nutmeg, our wild rice, and 4 cups of my chicken bone broth. We add a little cracked black pepper because the chicken bone broth that I made does not have any seasoning in it. So we do need to add some salt and pepper. So about a teaspoon of salt. And you can always add more once you're done to taste. And I'm going to add a 3/4 teaspoon of sage. And I'll give that a stir. And now I'm ready to put the lid on and let it start cooking. But you can see all that goodness in there, just ready to get cooked up. So now let's put the lid on. And I'm going to put the valve to the sealing position. Right now it's on release, so let's turn it to seal. So now I'm going to turn it off by pressing cancel. So now I'll turn it on. And it's already set to high pressure. It's on 30 minutes and it's ready to cook. In the meantime, I'll clean up all this stuff that I've got out, and then I'll get ready to make the bechamel sauce that's going to go in it to give us that creamy chicken and wild rice soup. Now, one of the things I want to make sure that I make clear is that when you turn it on, you want to press the pressure cook button or the manual button. My Instant Pot does not have a manual button, so I'm to select the pressure cook button instead. If your Instant Pot has a manual button, then that is what you would use to cook the soup. So I set it on pressure cook, and it automatically goes to 30 minutes when you set it on pressure cook, and then we'll just let it do its thing. So now the soup's done. The pressure is kind of self-releasing. So now I'm going to make the bechamel sauce so that once the pressure is completely gone, I can add it to the pot. So we have a creamy chicken and wild rice soup. So I've got a 1/4 cup or 1/4 cup of butter, and to that I will add 1/4 cup of flour. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of cream and 1/2 cup of milk. And I apologize for having two different sets of measuring cups, but I've got the 1/2 cup used for this one, so I needed to get out the 1/2 cup for my other one. Let me show you what I got. I can just let you see these while I'm waiting. I just love pretty bowls, pretty pitchers, and pretty measuring cups. So I have this set of the Pioneer Woman measuring cups, and look at that picture. This is the 1 cup measuring bowl. And this is the 1/3 cup. And this is the 1/4 cup. And then here's the 1/2 cup one. And I just think they're so pretty. And then in my other set, this is the 1 cup. And then this is the 1/2 cup. This is the 1/3 cup, and this is the 1/4 cup. And now that this is all melted, I guess I should get to work and quit showing off my measuring bowl. So I'm going to add the flour and whisk it up. And it's almost like making gravy. You add in your oil or your butter, and then you add your flour, you whisk that in. And this is my Curtis Stone small saucepan. If you're interested in these Curtis Stone pots, I will link them below. So now I add my cream. And you see how heavy that is. Now give that a good stir. And you want to keep stirring this so that it doesn't thicken up too much. And then you add your 1/2 cup of milk. And it's still on medium to low heat. And then I'll add this to my chicken and wild rice soup. All right, so this is nice and thick. I'm going to set it off the heat, turn the heat off, and I'm going to go over to the soup pot. So just to make sure that all the steam is out, I'm going to turn it to the baking cycle. And there's a little bit left in there. Now that all the steam is released, the little thingy down there has dropped, I can open it up. And I always open it away from me, just in case there's any steam left in there. Oh my, let's take a look at that. So let me give it a little stir. But it looks and smells delicious. And before I add the bechamel sauce, I'm just going to give it a taste just to see if I've got enough salt and pepper in it. The broth is good. I could use a tiny bit more of salt and pepper, so let me grab that. Just a little bit of sea salt. And then a little bit more salt and pepper. Because remember that bechamel sauce, there's no salt and pepper in it. We made it with milk, cream, butter, and flour. So now let's add the bechamel sauce. Now we'll give that a stir, and now we've got a creamy soup. I cannot wait to taste this. This is what we're having for dinner tonight. We are having this chicken and wild rice soup made with my delicious chicken bone broth. And I tell you what, I'm also really looking forward to seeing what Tashi at Simply Tashi made and what chicken soup that Mary at Mary's Nest made. We talked about our chicken soup collab and what the other might make, but I don't really know what the final decision was. However, I will link both of their soup videos below so that you can check them out. Because by the time this video comes out, I'll know what they made. So be sure and check out Tashi at Simply Tashi and Mary at Mary's Nest so that you can see what kind of chicken soup they made. And really, what's the ultimate comfort food in the fall but chicken soup? Made a number of different ways. So now let's give it a little taste. It's delicious. I like the addition that the bechamel sauce gives to it. The vegetables are nice and tender. Pretty good. I might add a tad bit more salt. And I use Morton's sea salt. Is there any other brand of salt than Morton's? Like when it rains, it pours. Seriously? So I always use Morton's salt of whatever kind I need. Sea salt, kosher salt, iodized salt, whatever. That's what I use. Well, my chicken soup is done. And I think I'm going to serve it with some crusty rolls and maybe some kind of an apple dessert. Because after all, it is the fall and it's apple season here in Indiana. So we'll have some kind of an apple dessert that goes along with that. If you like this video, I certainly have some others that I think you will enjoy. I will link my how to make chicken bone broth video below, as well as my turkey carcass soup made with turkey bone broth, and of course my hamburger vegetable soup that is just amazing any time of the year, but it is certainly wonderful in the fall. And if you're thinking fall foods, you may also be prepping for Thanksgiving, or at least prepping your mind, thinking, okay, so what am I going to cook? How do I do this and how do I do that? Well, check out my Thanksgiving 101 playlist, because in that playlist I show you how to roast a turkey, how to make my famous mac and cheese, another one of the ultimate comfort foods, how to make my cornbread stuffing, how to make collard greens, how to make candied sweet potatoes, but a number of foods that you may want on your table for the Thanksgiving holiday. So I will link that playlist below and put an iCard above as well. And just so you know, I've raised 3 children. I've managed a home for more than 45 years, and I'm a nurse by profession. So if you want to learn more about running a household, cooking and cleaning and laundry and health and beauty, subscribe. I would love to have you as a member of the TNT community. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying goodbye. I'm going to get dinner on the table, and I will see you next time.